Hi, I'm Danny.
And I'm Si. Welcome to Business in the Brew, a podcast dedicated to all things business with the occasional cuppa.
We take a business story, theory, or something we just want to chat about and give it a dusting of our own special personality and sense of humour, combined with our experience and knowledge. We're both business graduates and have run our own businesses for many years. We can't wait for you to listen. Boom.
Boom.
Hello.
Hello.
Today, we are going to talk about Nintendo
Oh, great.
and how they
Okay.
have used failure as fuel.
Really?
They've got a habit of reinvention, which I think is actually really interesting.
It's
But
funny,
they-
I just know them as being there.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
keep
bring a new
winning.
game out.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've never known of them to...
it's not like when we talk about
Drop.
failures when it fundamentally affects the company.
Yeah.
They have this almost playful approach to innovation. They keep trying things. And some of it has become a bit of a rumour mill because there are some things that are said to be a real invention of Nintendo while they were
Right.
doing this experimentation that actually isn't true at all. Although I kind of wish it was. But I'll tell you that when I get to it. It's 135 years old. And it has failed more than most companies.
Oh, heck. You're going to have to go back to the beginning there and explain how a video games company is 135 years old.
Well, it's not a video games company. Well, it wasn't when it started.
Or an entertainment company then.
So when it was founded in 1889, it made playing cards.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like Toyota made sewing machines.
I like sewing machines.
Mm.
So, yeah, it started in playing cards and then had to sort of diversify a bit to keep going. So they diversified in the 50s into plastic toys. Some notable plastic toys created by Nintendo were the Ultra Hand. It was an extendable grabber. You know, like on the crisscross mechanism that
Lovely.
you extend.
Yep.
Yeah. The Love Tester. Genuinely, when I was researching this, found this sentence: measures passion by two people holding balls. But when I looked at a picture, I understood a bit better. So it's essentially it's a lie detector, isn't it? But it's a little machine with your passion counter, and then two wires coming off of it with a metal ball at each end, and it essentially measures your sweat.
Oh, right,
So
okay.
how sweaty you are denotes how excited you are to be with the other person.
Good, great.
So the Love Tester and the beam gun, which was just a
Beam
50s laser beam gun, as in pow pow, laser gun. So yeah, I thought that was so.
Amazing.
They went into toys and they were, relatively successful. And then in the 60s and 70s,
And are they Japanese?
yes,
Right.
Kyoto, Japan.
Yeah.
I tell you the name of the founder, but I'm confident I'm going to pronounce it incorrectly. Fusijiro Yamaguchi.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Fine,
Yeah.
why not? Their name actually meant leave luck to heaven originally. Oh. Anyway, so the 60s and 70s, they diversified again with a bit of a random diversification. Taxi company. Didn't work.
Wow.
Instant rice.
All under the same name?
Yes. Instant rice. Vacuum cleaners. And the one that's a rumour and isn't actually true, love hotels. Do you know what a love hotel is? Could you make
Can
an
I have a
educated guess? Yeah, so it's an urban legend. But they were essentially rumoured that in Kyoto in Japan they had a number of, let's call them by the hour hotel rental places.
Gosh, right. Certain kind of love then.
I wouldn't want to be a chambermaid in one of those. Anyway, they all failed. And in the 1970s, it wasn't until the 1970s they finally found traction with electronic toys and very early video game consoles. But that doesn't even mean that they'd kind of found their niche and were good at it, because they've made mistakes with video game consoles as well. So by the 1980s, by which point they've been going for 100 years, they'd kind of baked in this innovative culture and this idea of experimentation and, failure being a learning experience. And it has saved them over and over again. So 1983 was when the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES, was introduced. And that was so successful because it was off the back of the 1983 market crash caused by poor quality Atari titles. So Atari basically had failed to live up to its initial hype. So the NES kind of swooped in and took that marketplace, and they introduced the Nintendo seal of quality, which very much worked on rebuilding consumer trust in video games.
Really? Wow.
So it sold 61.9 million units worldwide, which is a lot. 1989, they invented the Game Boy, which revolutionised handheld devices. Simple, durable, bundled with Tetris. What more could you want?
Oh, God, yeah.
It's like Snake and the Nokia. That sold 118.7 million units, including Game Boy Color. So that's...
Amazing. I love revisiting this stuff.
It kind of didn't have to be cutting edge to be successful. It had to be what people actually bloody well wanted.
Yeah.
They wanted that portable gaming.
It was pretty much cutting edge
Well,
at the
I suppose
time,
it was, yeah. 1996, the Nintendo 64, when they introduced 3D gaming and analog sticks. Quite sure what an analog stick is. But they did... What's that? Oh, like a joystick.
I don't know.
Okay,
do you know? No, I'd be guessing.
Did you have a Nintendo?
No, I had a Mega Drive, Sega.
Well, the Nintendo 64 lost market share to Sony's PlayStation, which became a cult favourite. But to be fair, the NES is still... I had a SNES, not a NES. 2006, the Wii came out. The comeback kid was rejected by hardcore gamers, but beloved by families and casual players. I still have a Wii. My mum has a Wii as well. Sold over 101 million units, outselling the PS3 and Xbox 360 combined at the time. And
it was amazing because it was a lot more accessible.
Yes, exactly. And then 2017, Nintendo Switch, which is like the modern version of the Game Boy. So it's a hybrid console. So you can use it at home with a docking station, or you can take it out and about with you. And it's Nintendo's most successful console ever. But that doesn't mean they didn't make mistakes in between these successes. So 1995, they brought out Virtual Boy, which sounds awful. It was a bit like a Game Boy, but it just wasn't any good. Rush launch, read-only graphics, headaches, poor ergonomics. Great. In 2012, they brought out Wii U, which was very confusing because they thought it was for the Wii, but it wasn't for the Wii. GameCube, which was underpowered hardware versus the PlayStation 2 and limited support. And the 3DS. The 3DS never worked. Limited titles and it was too expensive. But each failure became the blueprint for their next success. So when Wii U flopped, it taught them that portability was actually what people were looking for, which led directly to the development of Switch.
Amazing.
So they've really taken... Not many people take failure and turn it into something successful. Either tanks the entire business or they're like, well, that didn't work, did it? But it's not like that. They wouldn't go, oh, the Virtual Boy didn't work, let's not bother doing gaming anymore. They just took from that and did something different. And
they did it all under the aegis of the actual company.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of companies, they tie everything up in one company. If it fails, they close the company down, they reopen the company, basically get all sorts of write-offs and the rest of it. But actually staying with the same company name all the way through those.
Yeah.
setbacks.
Again, there was another Japanese person, Shigeru Miyamoto. Legendary Nintendo designer who created Mario, Zelda, and Donkey Kong summed it up by saying, our job is to not make something everyone will like, it's to make something that people will love. So it was very much about play, putting fun first, innovation, trying things. Yeah. They led with human-first design, so not graphics, not specs, but emotions and what people would get from playing it. Playful experimentation with imagination over imitation, and iterative innovation. And even their hardware kind of reflects that, because like the Wii, while not a traditional gaming unit, very much encouraged movement and accessibility, which is why it's loved by families. And you got that little wobble board thing you could stand on that measured your weight and everything. Constantly told me I was like a fat old lady. Did not like me. The Switch blurred lines between home and travel play. Apparently there's a next console rumoured, the Switch 2, which focuses more on versatility and versatility, not versatility, versatility and connection. But it's never chased trends. It's never tried to imitate anyone else. It never tried to be anything else. It's kind of embraced its own nostalgia and its own way of doing things.
But it was technically the first, really?
It was,
Atari came
but since
it,
then,
the
Game Boy was very specific. The Switch, in theory, could be seen as everything could be seen as a bit of an imitation. Look at the way they still have Mario Kart and Mario.
An imitation, but But I mean, it's all their innovation.
This is true.
And it's them imitating and using in different environments.
Yeah. But I just love that Mario still exists. It didn't go out of fashion. I still play it. We've got it at home. Got a little wheel and everything. I'm really bad at it.
Culture around it. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't do flashy trade shows. They have digital presentations. Fans get sneak peeks and emotional storytelling straight from developers. Turns announcements from just dry, look at what we've done, aren't we amazing, into more community events. It really involves the people who play. And they do have a character economy. Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, Pikachu. Apparently Nintendo has the richest IP library in entertainment.
God, wow.
They're not just games, they're cultural icons.
They are exactly that.
But even the Super Mario Brothers, I don't know if you saw the Super Mario Brothers movie in 2023, that grossed $1.36 billion. And it was probably mostly from people like me, just wanted to see it all again and spot all the little bits and pieces you played when you were younger, all the things that you'd seen before. It's just fascinating. I love that commitment to innovation. I know we've done an episode on innovation before, and I know that companies like Kodak, who bake innovation into their everyday operations and the way their staff are supposed to work, and they really reward idea generation. It's almost like Nintendo, as well as rewarding innovation, rewards failure. Why not try it? Why not give it a go?
It's interesting you say that with Kodak, because Kodak didn't necessarily do that.
At the end, it was really funny because they were innovative for a very, very long time, and then they dropped the ball.
Yeah.
But they were innovative within a niche. As soon as their innovation would have needed to move outside of what they knew, which was cameras, they didn't want anything to do with it. And that's their problem. But this is, to be fair, Nintendo was a little bit scattergun at the beginning when you're talking taxi company versus instant rice versus whatever. It's a little bit scattergun. That period, that decade, couple of decades, between handheld toys like the laser gun or the Love Simulator, Measurer, whatever it's called, Love Simulator, definitely wasn't that. They weren't in that arena. And then on to the video games. That's all play. The bit in between is almost a bit of an anomaly where they thought maybe we should try something different, and then let's get back to
something for cash flow's sake.
Yeah, and I thought we'll better get back to what we know, which is making kids happy. So they kind of went back to their roots with that. So it's all within an industry, but it's very different going from an extendable grabber to video games, and miniaturizing technology, and then realisticifying. Not a word. Technology with amazing graphics and all sorts of things. And then the franchising of the characters and the films and the merch and everything. It's an amazing model.
It's, completely and utterly cementing it within the culture of how many countries. I mean, they're everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you just can't
and when you've grown up with it as well,
it.
You've grown up with it. And it's
I remember
taken
the
you
NES.
on a journey through your
It feels safe, it feels comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't play video games. I'm just not that sort of person. But I will still occasionally play on Logan's Switch because I used to play the NES and I recognise Mario Kart. And yes, there are new games and there are all sorts of different things. And it's so different gaming now. Like my son will sit and watch like a whole YouTube video about how to beat this game and then sit and play the game. We didn't have any of that.
Blimey.
The only thing you might have is your mate who happened to get it a week before you and knows how to go up one level. You didn't have the secrets to the entire thing the whole way through. It's a completely different experience now. But this has taught me that failure is not a bad thing. Because I know people see failure as like the end, or people worry that you're not going to come back from it, or if you make a mistake, you look stupid. This proves that you don't. You learn and you grow.
Well, you do. You can't have success without failure.
No.
Failure contributes towards success. That client of mine who said they failed their way to success. I love that. Every single one of their challenges became something that made them stronger.
It's such a positive way of looking at it. Oh my God. In 2024, they spent $880 million on R&D. I bet your R&D bill's a lot smaller than that.
Just a little.
Just a smidge.
Just take a couple of zeros off.
But it's not reinvention for them. It's a bit funny, actually. We were talking about reinvention, weren't we, and renaming and stuff. And for a lot of people, it's a stunt or it's an escape. It wasn't. It was the way they operated. Reinvention was their entire operating system, not of themselves, but of their product. A reinvention, a revolution, evolution. Just that constant commitment to what can we do differently that people actually want, but also a commitment to the product itself. The Switch hasn't changed in however many years it's been about. You might bring out a new Joy-Con for it, and the NES didn't change. The SNES wasn't a massive move on from where the NES was. So they're committed. It's not faddy. It's not innovation for innovation's sake. It's core, strong product identities that kind of grow with the audience and grow with the technology at a sustainable pace. And no love hotels. Wouldn't it be great if you had love hotels with Nintendos in them? Maybe that's what they were doing there by the hour, gaming.
Could have been. That could have been the only way to do it. Are you saying that's the conclusion then? No love hotels?
Yes. My deep and meaningful conclusion out of the fact that Nintendo have innovation baked into their systems and structures is there were no love hotels, which is disappointing. To be clear, love hotels do exist, just not owned by Nintendo. And not in Kyoto in Japan. It's an urban legend. But yeah, we should all be innovative. Fail more. Be better.
I think that's where the best companies are. James Dyson,
He'd fail a lot.
He's got a few controversies going on at the moment.
And the KFC man.
Yeah.
Colonel Saunders.
Both of those have their own episodes as well.
They do, and they failed massively. So many failures. But failures and innovators make good stories for us.
And good business people, I think, ultimately.
True.
Yeah.
Yes. So there you go. No love hotels. Fail more. Be better. Listen to our other episodes.
Don't be afraid.
Yes, don't be afraid. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for supporting us by downloading and listening to this episode.
And a massive thank you also to Donnie, Emily, Nat and Lewis and the BTD Studios for all your expertise in bringing our podcasting dream to reality.
We'd love it if you commented on this episode, as we'd really like to know what you think and what you might like us to cover in future episodes.
And we'll see you on the next one.